So are you using that camera or are you using the?
I'm using this as a mic. And it was so bright. So.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Nice.
Did you have the 17 and it's like non-stop? Like,
I wasn't introduced yet. This is Mario.
and
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Kimmy.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Kimmy. Maria. Maria, nice to meet you. Hello. Maria. Hello. Hi. Wait, next to yours.
Oh, thank you.
nice to meet you. Pamela.
Yeah,
Shirley. Yeah, no.
So you're friends with Tony? I know Tony's the 90-day program that's music. Yeah, and then Mario and I met a couple weeks ago out dancing, so I invited him. I've been through it. Oh, yeah. So I brought Mario tonight so you can learn about it. Yeah. So I'll see you. I'll be around late. We've got the 90-day program that's got stuff going on this weekend, so I'll be in both places. So. That's okay, I'll still have a name tag. Okay, you will. I'll have a name tag. A different one. I will have a name tag. In fact, you'll see me Friday morning at registration. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Has nothing to do with me not liking you or wanting to get you in trouble. It's like, and then
It's not that you're not allowed to. You'll be given that one.
Okay. I don't look like you, but you are looking through your dog.
Yeah, I think it's only because I have the same issue.
Stuff like that.
My blood sugar.
Yeah,
me too. Oh my God. And you know what?
Tired than most women.
Sunday, I work
while I'm working, but
and I wasn't
feel like I'm
thinking.
very
It's a good time.
Yeah,
I coffee.
but also my boss is like,
Oh, and I'm happy for
has
you
lived
too.
with
Uh-oh, I was up
me.
till 5 in the morning. So I decided to do work. It's okay, but I was like,
Yeah.
why can't I
Wow.
take it? I'm like,
I mean, it's a wonderful
such
million
good
dollars
luck. That was a good luck.
and it's
Oh my God.
I went to work college over budget and
Oh my God.
And now it's so like,
it's still like a situation like we're not all on the same page, but I think in order for us to start,
Yeah.
and you have to all know
Yeah.
what it's like there needs to be
Yeah.
You got it. No,
everyone has to be behind it.
And you'll be fine. You'll have opportunities to take care of yourself
in
this
the
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
I like thought I wanted to be a part of the process.
The water is like not
hard.
Not for blood
Like
sugar.
hard.
No, trust
You
me.
know,
It's
you know,
not
like
fiber.
moving into the
No.
like
You
food
need, like,
catering restaurant
Yeah.
and like
Protein.
seeing
Yeah.
like the
Protein,
numbers
fiber.
and I'm really glad it's not like me
Yeah.
with it. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. No, I never wanted it. This is just like I transitioned into this and I've helped open up restaurants. I have never wanted one. So I want a grocery store. It's completely different. So, but
It's gonna be.
it's like fire.
Yeah, it'll be.
It's like an Asian fire.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah, there's
ultimate
probably
goal,
lots of
but
plugs in here.
you know, this opens up doors for networking and, you know, different
Yeah,
clients.
well, I wanted to,
and
about this,
people
you know, not
and,
something
you know,
that's
just
simple.
you know, people who like know exactly what's up. So that's the process that I have to go to get all of these things, you know, and it's well worth it. But I would never want to.
So he wrote a book. It apparently went off.
It's just not my.
But yeah, it was more.
Yeah, this Groundhog Day, like this is history, so like I'm helping
But it was
with
like.
it, but it's you know, I actually I'm on the so I haven't really been sure, so there's not.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was dating
kind of stuff like
a
that.
friend of ours.
And it was kind of cool.
You know, I miss that amount of time for him to see and
The cover was this.
Right back, and then
Yeah, that wasn't all the way.
financial.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
All it is.
It's got to wait.
Good.
So, and it's part, and so when it comes to work, I'm still.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's on. I just took all on and then it just started. So cool.
When?
Yeah, this is really dark. Yeah, the outlets are. Oh, right there, under that too.
That was an adventure.
And it might be a little too cold. Away from the temptation.
Just-
He's gonna
Yeah,
film
he's
it.
just tired.
And
But yeah, I mean, I wanna get it done.
Maybe plenty on Wednesday morning, so.
It's 5,000 by the.
So you must be there.
Where are you gonna get out? Oh, that was on his phone.
Yeah,
Online
learning Excel was extremely difficult for me in terms of numbers, like, that was really hard, but that's something I should know for myself. I learned a lot of things from the take on what this project is, and that's the reason why I did it, but now it's like the quality of
I
life,
don't know.
and, you know, I'm at the point where it's quality of life, what I decided to surround myself with, knowing my worth, and what I can
Yeah,
build
maybe.
with.
Yeah.
And in
And
terms
which
of
is
work, I
fine.
feel like
I
there's
mean,
really
I'm okay with
not
anything,
much.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I want to get out, and I want
No,
to
I have too
be
much on my shoulders.
but I don't want it,
I
I
need
don't
to
know,
learn
like,
it.
make
The
five
thing that I
cents.
need to learn is
You know,
really
no,
my
no.
happy with my
It's like
performance, but he can tell, he can see that I'm like drifting, like, I'm just drifting, or like, now I just wanna go and get really drunk, I just wanna like let out steam, and come in and like come over and like what? But it's a matter of how much pressure he's putting on me, and, it's not like he's gonna turn me into a diamond, like,
Eventually, after, right?
squish me.
I mean, that's part of it.
Yes, please.
Balance.
You have to go through.
Chillin'? Well, really good suitcase. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I
It's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's never a bad thing.
So what's your goal number
I do,
one?
and then it's like a do
That you're working on.
I haven't done Sky before.
The most important.
I eventually get to it.
That will set the foundation.
Okay,
for the-
Tony, you did it right. Tony's been trying to get me to go. I've been really busy.
I don't think I can. No.
I think you just would go.
Okay, well, I'm going.
Yeah, so
I used to say, I was very more so.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be.
I usually do like this. I'm still trying to tell.
Understanding.
Well, it's not my. Okay, but
Branches.
Just the right how it is right now.
My physical priority.
I think it's gonna be like the setup wise, I heard it's should be fun. Good networking.
I think it's
Bonding.
basically.
I'm gonna do it with my cousin.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know. But that's just makes me so.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think we can go ahead and get started. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
are you sure?
Yes.
Positive?
Yes.
Well, you wanna close it? Yeah, that's fine. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are we?
Great.
My name's Carson. I think we've actually officially met.
Kimmy.
Hi.
Hi.
I've met you before, right?
No.
No, didn't you do the basic here?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought you did.
LA.
Oh, it was LA. Oh, wow. Okay, then. So thanks for being here. We're gonna do kind of like an informal presentation. Sometimes I'll do, a presentation for 5 people. Sometimes I'll do presentations for 500 people. So the energy of a presentation for 5 people is a little different than the energy for a presentation for 500 people. So I kind of like these to be a little bit more of a conversation, like, what are your questions? What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? I'll present the basic seminar, which is why you're here tonight, and then you can decide if you want to go. Sound good?
Yeah.
You're already going. Well, hopefully anything I say doesn't say, I'm not going to bed.
I'm committed.
That guy's creepy. So, well, what have you heard, Shirley? You already signed up. Kimmy, you haven't gone yet, and Mario, you haven't gone yet. What have you heard about the class, or why are you here? What kind of caused you to sort of be? What piqued your interest?
Just bettering your life, just learning about yourself and being empowered, I guess, and just an awakening. That's pretty much what I grasped from everybody that I talked to that's taken Psy.
Okay, awesome. You know a bunch of people?
I know a handful of people, but Tony being a pretty close friend, and then my best friend took Psy several years ago and has flourished. Like, she's great, and you know, she's always tried to get me to go, and the timing was never correct. So, yeah.
Right on. Who's your friend that went?
Lauren Preston.
Did she go here?
She went to the one in SF, at the Hyatt.
That sounds really familiar.
She was her friend actually worked for Psy. I can't remember her name. It was like a close friend of hers that bought her. She was going through a really traumatic thing in her life, and she had gotten fired from her job, and like was deciding on maybe leaving San Francisco. And as a gift, her friend had purchased Psy for her.
Oh, cool.
And then she went to LA and is doing really amazing things there.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, the name sounds familiar. I've been working with Psy seminars here in the Bay Area for 10 years. So usually, if you go through the class here, I've talked to you at some level.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't always remember everybody, but I'm pretty good about names.
Really, she's really hard to miss. I'm sure you probably will remember her.
Yeah.
Tall, really beautiful, light-skinned black girl. You know Lauren Preston, right?
Yes.
Lauren Preston.
Yeah.
She works for Stella.
I do think I remember her. I'll look her up.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. So you're right on the right track. I mean, it's about empowerment. It's about more awareness. It's about why we do what we do. It's about getting off automatic pilot. It's about making more conscious decisions about our path in our life and why we're going where we're going and what we want to do when we get there, versus being more kind of reactive or automatic for the automatic pilot. We all kind of have an automatic pilot, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So that you be just more conscious about creating the life that you want versus leaving it up to whoever knows. Right on. What else? What have you heard, or why? What sparked your interest? Yeah.
So, PSI has infected my family. It started with my cousin Mai Liu, who actually, I think she won a competition and spoke at Principia to tell her story, and she is actually now officially, since Sunday, my mentor.
Oh, awesome.
And so a lot of my family members in Calgary, Tony, have done PSI, and I recently, kind of on a whim, left my job and my life in Toronto and came out to California to pursue my interior design career. And I kind of did it just like, I'm going to do this. I have no money. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm just going to come out here. And I didn't have a job lined up. And I just kind of figured it out. And now I'm doing really well. But I just feel like, well, I'm still thinking very small.
Yeah.
And I want to, my family's very entrepreneurial. That's why we all kind of grab it. Everybody does really well with PSI too. I have like we have a lot of success stories with PSI, and everybody has their own business or company or something really amazing, and it's not just some, pretty good story. So.
It's not just a motivational class.
It's not just a motivational class. I actually came up with a really good word because I was telling a couple people about it that I thought would benefit, and my phrase, because I like coming up with like just one word, instead of like, it's about this, and about this, and that. So
yeah, I like that.
I said, this is my new word. I'm going to learn how to build an empire. It's empire building.
Yeah.
Empire building. That's what it is. Whatever your empire is, that's what I'm going to do. So
that's really cool.
I think that is like if that's all I need to say to people, and it's like whatever that.
Can I borrow that?
I'd like to borrow that too. Damn it! Just missed out on $5 million.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so true. It's like in whatever your empire is.
Yeah, whether it's
right. It could be just a family. It could, which is not
absolutely.
just it. It could be a family. It could be whatever your empire is. That's absolutely right on. It's about the full gamut of life.
Yeah.
Right. What do I want on all ends? Right, of the world.
And I texted Tony as soon as I as I thought of that word. It's like Empire!
Yeah.
Empire Building!
That's really good. Change the name of our company.
Yeah.
Empire Builders.
I'm just $10 million.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll give you a little. Okay, cool, right on. And then Mario, what did you hear?
Well, Pamela's responsible.
I don't know. She's responsible for a lot of things.
In a good way.
In a good way.
I've been in this path of self-discovery for over 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never done something structured.
Yeah.
Just in the last few. I've been reading a lot of books.
Right.
But a few months ago, I attended Tony Robbins.
Awesome. Did you do it here in San Jose?
Is that what I was
Yeah, yeah. I almost went to that one.
So I went
Really?
there, and it was just a gift.
Yeah.
But now there's 3 months later,
Mm.
I just feel it got to be another way.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I met Pamela, and she started talking about goals.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated with goals.
Mhm.
And I set too many goals in my life that I achieved.
Yeah.
And when she was sharing her story, I was just gravitating, and I started bombarded with more questions.
Yeah.
Where do you go? What do you do? And she said, well, if you want to learn more, Wednesday there's a introduction.
Yeah.
I didn't hesitate because I'm always fascinated with what people do
Yeah.
or what can we do
Yeah.
as well. So
That's awesome.
So
That's great. Well, you're all in a good spot. What I will say this is, I've been with this company at some level. I took the basic seminar in 1998. I did the other two courses that we have with Site Seminars. So we have the basic seminar, that's a 3-day class. We have a life success course that's 7 days, and a leadership seminar that's 9 days. And then we have a 90-day program that's like a goal-setting program, goal-achieving program, and then one other event a year. So that's kind of the curriculum for Site Seminars. But our main classes are 3 classes. I did those when I was 19 and 20, and I've been working at some level with this company. I actually worked for them or with them the last 10 years. What I see a lot and very often is people that come in who have read all the books, who've they've been about this, yet they haven't done an experiential training like we have. Even Tony Robbins is good; it's super good. But you're with 20,000 people, and it's a show. I mean, it's like we'll go into a rock show. It's like, you leave like pumped up with a lot of good information, but the transformation doesn't always happen the way that it does when you can do more of an intimate setting like this.
exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, great. Well, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about what is the next step. What's the next step in your empire? What's the next step in your life, in your career, in your personal life, whatever? What is it that you want? What do you want right now that you don't have? What's in the way? What are the obstacles? What's the challenges that you're working with? And that's kind of what we work with in Site Seminars all across the board. So we work with people, and we've done it for 40 years. We work with people that have come from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different experiences, different cultures, different religions, all different types of people. I've literally done classes for 10-year-olds from the projects and 15-year-olds from juvenile hall. I do classes for CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Site Seminars does classes for different companies, corporations, so anything in between. We work with people. It was funny. I was actually got hired with another company recently that just does corporate trainings, and I've never really been a corporate kind of person. In fact, I've never really had a job. It's kind of funny. I think back and I never really had a job. Like, this isn't even a job for me. I work when I want to do it. I work a lot. I always have things happening, but I've never really had a job. So I've worked in corporate, but I've never had a corporate job. And so this company hired me to go and do corporate trainings. And so there's 6 of us that they hired. We went to New York for a week, and I'm sitting around a table with these people that it's like, I've been at Ernst & Young for 20 years, and I've been at Deloitte for 15 years, and I just came from Bank Swiss, and it's like, I was all intimidated because I'm like, geez, these people have way more experience than I do. But as we got into the curriculum, it just turned out that I had way more to offer than I thought I did because I've been working with people of all different walks of life for so long. So I say that because people in general are the same. We function the same way, right? We have different mindsets, we have different viewpoints and perspectives, but human beings produce results the same way. And I'll go into that in a minute. But most people produce results based on their automatic pilot, so to speak. So how many of you drive a car? Okay, ride a bike, know how to drive a car, ride a bike, okay, you can use that as an example. So remember back when you first learned how to drive a car or ride a bike, right? You had to be really really conscious, really aware, really focused on what you're doing to get from point A to point B and get there safely. Right? But as we go along in our learning process of anything that we learn in our life, we go from this place called an unconscious incompetent. Unconscious incompetent means you don't even know that you don't even know. You're like in bliss. It's like, I don't even, whatever, it looks fine. Driving sounds like it should be a really good thing to do. I want to do that. Right? Then you get in the car and you automatically become a conscious incompetent. You know that you don't know. Right? So you have to be really, it's an uncomfortable place to be when you're learning something new. Right? And then you get to a place where you learned it and you practice and you become a conscious competent where you know that you know. You know you can do this. Like, I'm good at this. I can drive the car. I can sell the real estate. I can design the thing. I'm good at this. I know that I can do it. But then we get to another place after that called being an unconscious competent, which is you don't even have to think about it anymore. Right? So how many of you have been driving your car, your bike, or whatever, and you get home and you park in your parking spot and you look up and you're like, how did I get here? Because you don't even remember the drive. Okay? Or you're doing something that you're on automatic pilot with, and you're just like, I can just boom, 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 do this all the time. I don't even think about it anymore. So we do it with driving a car, we do it with making money, we do it with our relationships, we do the automatic pilot everywhere we go. It's how human beings function. Right? We learn how to do something, and we learn so well we don't have to think about it anymore. It's like when we first learned to walk. Like, you probably don't really remember learning to walk, but you had to be really like, you know, like, oh, you fall over, and you hit your head, you bump and fall over, blah, blah. But then you figure out you don't have to think about walking anymore, do you? Sometimes because we're texting and we're da-da-da, like, you know, have you ever done that before? We just, like, ran into something? I swear, there's going to be a new law about texting and walking, I'm sure, pretty soon. Like, you can't do that either. But if we had to think about everything that we do consciously all the time, we would never get anything done. Right? We would be stuck in bed. It's like, okay, open eyeballs, they roll over, sit up, grab the wall. I mean, if we had to consciously think about everything, we would never get anything done. So it's a beauty of the human beings that we're really powerful, and that we can get things done all the time. We do it on automatic pilot, and that automatic pilot works really well for exactly what you have today. Your automatic pilot is getting you what you have, which is probably pretty good. You have a pretty good life. You've got good things going on. You've got good people in your life. There's nothing wrong with you, right? Though, what's the next step? And the next step is called getting to being a conscious incompetent again. I know that I don't know how to build my empire, right? When I started writing this book, I became into this place I'd never known before. It's like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know where it's going to go. I'm afraid of this. What if it sucks? What if nobody reads it? What if I do all this work? All of that stuff started to come up, and as I kept going and kept going and kept going, I'm now like, oh my God, this is going to be really great. I can see the end, right? But not the end. I can see the next step. However, in that process of learning something new, it's uncomfortable. But that's kind of what we ask you to do in the basic seminar. We ask you to go to that place of learning again, learning from a new place. You become a beginner again with your life. What if what you know isn't all that there is? Right? The PSI is psi, stands for the Greek letter of the alphabet. The letter of the Greek alphabet that stands for the unknown factor. Right? And I look at the psi symbol, and what is that unknown factor? Like the idea that there's something that's unknown that if you knew it could make all the difference in the world. Right? There's a gap between what I have and what I want. And if you knew it, you knew the answer, you really knew the answer, you probably bridge that gap. But there's something that's unknown in there that you'll find and discover in the basic seminar. It's about what's underneath, what's the thing that you don't know that will cause you to make the difference in your life, in whatever area that it is. So, PSI, I just told you what it stands for. People have called it People Synergistically Involved. Back in the 70s, we called it Personal Success Institute. People have called it Personal Self-Improvement. But it stands for PSI, the unknown factor. Okay, the basic seminar is the first of the 3 classes that we offer. It's an educational course. So we work with the concept of education, not from what you've learned in school, not from where you've, like, in any kind of technical field where it says, learn this, give me the right answer back. That's not our model. Our model comes from the Greek word edeuko, which means to draw forth from within. So that this isn't a telling you how to live your life process. I don't know how to live your life. This is a drawing out process. What we operate under the premise is that you have everything that it takes to be as successful as you want to be, and You already know the answers. They're just in that unconscious part. Then the part that you don't always dip into. We live our life in reason and logic. Our conscious mind can do about 7 to 8 things per second. Our subconscious mind does about 200,000 things per second. So which one would you think is a little bit more powerful? Right? So we don't learn about that. We don't learn about emotions and intuition and programming and we don't learn about that. We don't dip into that in school. But in the basic seminar, you will. You'll dip into what's underneath the surface that could make all the difference in the world, and a drawing out process. What's not there that maybe you haven't seen for a long time. You know, what is it that you can pull out from yourself to cause your business to be better? Where's the risk that you take, the courage that you take? I'm loving your story about just going, you know what, I'm quitting my job and I'm going. Right? That experience is probably one of the biggest transformations you've ever done in your life. Yeah. I mean, in your adult life, right? And it's scary as hell, right? And you did it, and you're like, I'm alive. I made this happen. So those kinds of risks for you won't be as scary in the future because you know you've done it before. My suggestion is that you keep taking risks like that once a year, right? Because
flee the country.
Well, I don't know about that. But those risks that you jump into this new place called, oh God, I got to be a beginner, and how do I do this? Challenge yourself. So which is great because it's an education course where you challenge yourself. And again, people don't come to the basic seminar because they want to make $1 more an hour, right? They come to the basic seminar because they want to have a fulfilled life. They want to have extraordinary happening. They want to have big, they want to have exciting, they want to have fun, they want to have passion, they want to have the big things that they're willing to challenge themselves for. Right? So this isn't a class where you're going to come in and hold hands and sing Kumbaya and everyone's just going to tell you how great you are. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. Yeah. Like, no, you can go plaster your walls with positive quotes from every single book and blah, and it's not going to do anything for your life. And after a while, after about 3 weeks, you'll wake up and you won't even see the quotes on the wall because you'll just be so used to it that it's like just wallpaper. Okay, so I'm not also saying though that you're going to come in and someone's going to be like whoosh, cracking the whip and telling you blah blah. No, but we're going to put you in a place with the basic seminar that will be a little bit uncomfortable. It's like, no, we're going to challenge you to look at your life different. We're going to challenge you to look at your perspectives differently, and to say, listen, is this true or have you made this up? Because we make up almost everything about our perception of our life. And most people don't look at where they make that up. We make up our perception of life between the ages about 0 and 16, 17, 18. Right? About what life is, who we are, how it works, what's a parent, what's a son, what's a daughter, what's a relationship, what's a husband, what's a wife, we make all that stuff up based on what we've seen and what we've experienced. But again, nobody really talks about that very often. But those are the keys to saying if I want something different, something better, then I've got to look inside and say, what am I thinking? What am I thinking about that's causing me to react this way? That's causing me to behave this way? Right? Okay, so you challenge yourself to explore, question, and discover. Again, specifically what we're going to be looking at, questioning and discovering, is what is it that I'm thinking? What are the belief systems that I have? What is the viewpoint? What's my perspective on life? What do I believe about the world, myself, and other people? So how many of you know that you talk to yourself? Okay, everyone just went, oh, and you're like, God, I'm hungry. I wish I could get out of here. What the hell did Pamela bring me to, right? So you have a conversation running at all times. Sometimes you listen to it, and sometimes you don't, but it's always there. There's a conversation about you. There's a conversation about the world. There's a conversation about other people. There's a conversation about the economy. There's a conversation about your capabilities. There's a conversation that is always running. And so that's what you're going to look at in the basic seminar. What am I thinking? What's the thinking that drives the decision-making process in my life? Is it a scarcity thought process? Is it an abundance thought process? Is it a love thought process? Is it a fear thought process? Is it a I can do it thought process? Is it a I'm not capable process? Is it what about the unknown? And what's the thought process that's underneath just our regular reasoning logic? Because don't we always pretty much know the answer? Oh, well, I know that if I want to have a better relationship, I can come home and be patient and loving and caring and connected and listen better and, you know, make food. But I know I can do all those, but then why don't I do it all the time? Because we have automatic pilot running, right? Something else gets in the way. Or I know if I want to be better financially, then I could save 30% and put 10% into this and da 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 da. We know the answers. You can go to the self-help section in any bookstore in the world. There's all the answers. But we don't always do it because there's something else that's running the show. So explore, question, and discover what's running the show. So you expand your personal and professional effectiveness now. Again, it's not about fixing anything. You don't need to be fixed. You have everything that it takes to be as successful as you want to be. This is about taking it to the next step. What's the bigger, what's the better, what's the more? And in that process, it can be a little bit scary. Though it can also be really fun. The basic seminars are a really fun place to be. You bring you to the party wherever you go. So it's about being a more effective you, and not tomorrow or someday or when the time is right or when the economy is different or when the kids move out or when I get a better job or when I lose 5 pounds or when I gain 10 pounds or not when that happens, but right now. What can I do today? What can I do in this moment to cause something to happen in my life? So that's kind of the basic seminar in a quick nutshell. I'll do one quick model about sort of human beings in general. And by the way, this class has nothing to do with penmanship or spelling. So don't worry, we're going to learn there. So this is sort of how we look at how people in general produce results. So results, this is you. I know it doesn't look like you necessarily, but don't you know that we have layers to us? There are different layers, and we're like an onion. You peel down, peel down, peel down. Go down to the very deepest part of you, the part that came into the world as this amazing, perfect little human being. You were given everything that you need as far as characteristics, qualities, to be as successful as you want to be. Right? Human beings are born with really great qualities. Right? We're born, I mean, some people look at, yeah, well, kids are just all self-serving. Well, you know what? That's not such a bad thing. Right? But they're also really giving and really loving and unconditional and trusting and honest and, motivated and persistent and committed. It's like if you went after your dreams like a kid goes after a cookie or what they want in the toy store, right? You would have everything. So we come into the world with everything that it takes, right? We come into the world with all the tickets. But then we go out into our life and we have experiences. And those experiences create our thought processes, our perceptions, our what we call in the jargon word is our programs. Right? Computers have programs, right? You push the right button and the program happens automatically. So if you take a look at your life and take a look at yourself, how many of you know that you have certain buttons that when they're pushed, a program runs? Anger program, frustration, you suck, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. We have all these buttons that we get pushed, right? Or an opportunity comes, it's like, boom, here's a button. Oh, that's not my opportunity. That's for somebody else. And so we have this programming that happens. I kind of look at it like GPS in a vehicle. We have a GPS. We have wiring that takes us certain places, right? And so if you're in your car and your GPS is wired to go to San Jose, but you want to go to Sacramento, where are you going to end up if you follow the GPS? San Jose every single time, no matter what, because you're going to follow the GPS. It's programmed to be in a certain place. So just like anybody else, we have programs, and we're programmed to be a certain way. Now that's not necessarily the truth. It's just what we've made up, right? This is not a class where you go in, you get to blame your parents for everything that you're not good at, right? Or your middle school bully or whatever. That's not how it works, because what we see in the basic is that nobody gave that programming to us. We made it up throughout our life. We have an experience, we have to make that experience mean something about the world, ourselves, or other people, and then we go, oh, okay, that's what it means about me. I'm this way, I'm that way, I'm not this, I'm totally that. And then we take a next step in our life, we have another experience, we make it mean something, and we put in another piece of programming. And that's the program that we're going to take a look at the basic, because if we're given everything that we need to be as successful as we want to be, but then we don't have all of the results that we want, it's because there's a program in the way. Because a program will cause you to feel a certain way, which will cause you to act a certain way, which will cause you to create something other than what you say you want. So the basic seminar is about getting the actions, feelings, and thought process in alignment with who you really are. That's the bottom line of the basic. How do I get these qualities to come out to create that? How do I get my actions, feelings, and thinking all in alignment? Have you ever had those moments in your life where it's like, God, I really want this, but I feel this, and then I do this? Right? Like, oh, I would love to have a great, honest, amazing, open, committed, fun relationships. I just don't like people. Right? Or you just can't trust anybody. Or, you know, I suck at relationships. Or like we have this boom thinking, and then we go off and we do the same thing we've always done. Right? We get into relationships where nothing changes but the name tag. I've ever had those kind of things happen before. So again, the basics about having you be in alignment with the results that you want. So our programming, our thought processes, our feelings, and our actions with what I say I want. How you doing?
Great.
Good. And that's the 3 days. It's about doing exercises, experiences, different types of training, different types of games and role playing, and all different kinds of things. So you're actually experiencing it. You're not just hearing about it, right? We've read the books. We've seen the speakers. We can go listen, and we can get a lot of information, but we don't learn anything until we actually apply it in our life and integrate it in our life. And that's how the basic seminar works. It's about 3 days for you to take a time out of your life to go stop the train and say, what's working, what's not working. If I want this and I have this, what do I need to do to shift it? If I say, you know, I want to make more money, but I'm only making this much, what can I do to change that? Right? There's a lot that we can do. There's a lot that we can do different in our lives in order to create more of what we want, but we have to be willing to pay the price. Right? We have to be willing to pay the price. What I mean by that is that you've got to be willing to do some work. You can't expect to have different results doing the same thing that you've been doing. Right? This is the definition of insanity is basically what that is. Right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Okay, so that's how the basic seminar works. The next class that we have is actually this weekend, starting Friday morning at 10 a.m. It goes from 10 to 8, 10 to 8, 10 to 8. We have a follow-up on the following Wednesday evening. This is a graduation event, and you bring friends and family and tell everybody you want to come to it because there's a graduation and a presentation about the class. So throughout these 3 days, you're going to be in small groups. You're going to be doing something with a partner, with a buddy. You'll be doing something on your own. You'll be doing a journaling exercise. You'll be playing a game all as a group. You're going to be interacting with the instructor. So it's a very interactive learning environment, not just sitting in a chair and listening. That's one of the reasons that I love this class, because you're always just, it's always moving. It's always moving. Couple things with this is that if you do the class and you don't like it for any reason at all, we'll give you your money back. So we ask you to complete the class. If you don't like it, just write me a letter and say, Carson, I didn't like your class. I'll go, okay, here's your money back. The other thing is that you can do this class as many times as you want for the rest of your life for free, which means that you can come, this is like a lifetime warranty. Right? I don't know about you, but I just got my car back from the shop. It was about $1,500. And they did not say, you know what, just bring that thing back in anytime, we'll fix it right up. They didn't say that. But that's what the basic seminar is, because what we know is that you have to continue to work on yourself. You got to continue to be immersed in things that will cause you to do things different. It will cause you to rewire, reprogram the GPS that's been in there for a long, long time. So the basic is $595. If you want to register for it, we'll do it for $495 tonight, so it's an incentive price to take action on making it happen. And I think that's about it. Did I forget anything, Pamela? Ladies? Any questions based on what I've said so far? I know you just got here, so you kind of like talk about this.
Other dates.
The next one after this is November 14th.
November 14th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, plans this week?
I am in the process of opening up a new restaurant, so my hours, like I work every weekend pretty much.
In the city?
In the city, yeah.
Which one?
It's the old Shea Spencer building, so it's on 14th and Harrison, right by Rainbow Grocery.
Cool.
It's a whole build out. I'm working on everything from the kitchen to front of the house to back of the house so it's Japanese.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's why, I mean, Tony's been trying to get me to go, but my schedule's so floppy.
One of the things I'll say this for everybody is We all, I mean, pretty much everybody, especially in this city, in this area, like, there's always going to be something to do, and we all have crazy busy schedules. So the question is, what's worth, like, taking the time out? I'm not saying this weekend, but just in general in your mindset of like, it's going to be a pain in the ass no matter what. Like 3 days out of your life on a weekend, just not what normal people do. It's not, you know, but it's not what normal people do. And there's a key in that, is that normal people don't do this, but then normal people stay mediocre, you know. And so if you want the extraordinary, you've got to be willing to pay the price. Part of that's maybe $500, which is nothing for this class. But for a lot of people, it's like, God, 3 days, that's a lot. Right? Well, do this one and then go, oh my God, but what about the 7-day one? Because that's a whole lot more, right? A whole week. So, so what's it worth, right? If I could say right now that I guarantee you that 90 days from now, if you do the basics this week, and 9 days from now, you're gonna have boom, boom, boom. What are the 3 things you want the most? And that's why you would do it. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So make it a priority, not because, oh, I want to go to a class, sit for 3 days and sit in a hotel
of course
room,
not. No,
right?
no.
It's what I want after that.
I see the value
Yeah.
in it. I
Yeah.
see the value in it. I think that, like, I've programmed myself
Mhm.
at this point to be very, like, I've been working on this project for over a year, and now it's like gotten to the point where we're literally about to open.
Mhm.
And so at any given moment, just thinking of 3-4 days to take out is very scary.
Yeah, totally.
Because I can't really do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe I can. I shouldn't say can't, but
Yeah, I mean, I would
Just
say
figure out.
explore options, because especially once you start, it's probably going to be even more busy.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's another thing I had in my mind. But I did tell my boss about wanting to take off a weekend for a seminar, so
Yeah.
he knows, and also Chunga, because Chunga's working for us now. So me and my cousin are trying to do it together,
Gotcha.
but like I said, I just need maybe different times and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is a lot of bosses and employers really like this stuff. So if you explain what it is and the value of you doing it versus the value of you not being there for a weekend, they might go, okay, maybe.
Thanks for my boss that actually found out.
There you go. It's true. You will. That's the thing. You will. You'll be better.
You
with,
want me to go?
You'll be better with the customers. You'll be better with the other servers. You'll be better with the staff. You'll be better with him, right? Yeah. There's so many tools in here, especially in any kind of people industry. I mean, we have stuff around communication, around listening, around behavioral styles, how to sell to different people in more effective ways.
Mhm.
You know, all sorts of things. So it's definitely valuable. I know you see it. It's just more about, is it valuable enough for me to get?
It's definitely valuable. I
You know?
just need to get kind of like the ducks lined up.
Yeah.
I guess for people to understand. He knows that I'm going to do it. I just said, oh, it's kind of like a life coaching type of thing. So he knows I've been under a lot of stress. And we're kind of at that last push where we're all sprinting to the finish line
Yeah.
for the restaurant to be open and for us to like be there mentally and all on the same page. So, you know, being one of the leaders there, he wants me to be the best person that I can be and not be stressed. So I would just want to see what the next. I mean, maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know.
November 14th is the next.
The next one after that.
If you want to sign up for it, this is what I would suggest
I've
for everybody.
registered already.
Oh, you have?
online, and then it's always like something will happen. Anytime I get a weekend off, though,
Uh-huh.
it's usually not when the
This
basics
is
happen,
happening.
and then I will flee to LA or go visit
Yeah, yeah,
friends
yeah.
or do something that's completely different.
Yeah.
So if I can kind
So,
of get a time and then
yeah.
ask him.
A couple things, this is for everybody. One of the things I always suggest for people is to just register for the class. Right? Even if you don't know if this will work or the next one will work, but register for it. So like, just like a plane ticket or anything else, is you'll end up using it, or you'll end up going. The other thing is, I challenge people all the time. It's like, okay, register for this one and see what you can do the next 3 days. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we can push it to another one. And I'm not saying that you do that. I just challenge people to, because what you'll see is like, you know what, I can actually move mountains if I want to, if it's worth it. And just a quick note too, there's an exercise in the basics that's 17 minutes long that relieves 90% of the stress out of your body, and it's equivalent to 2 to 3 hours worth of sleep.
Thank you.
There's one. Yeah.
That's
So
not
one
what
of those two too. So I'll be around for a little bit. If you have more questions, if you want to register, Tony or me or whoever can help you, so you got to fill out the registration card and make it happen. So if you have any other questions, I can sit with you for a minute. I don't even know. Did they just pull you down off the street, or somebody here, or something like that? Right on.
You have my cup.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so thanks for being here, and I'll be around for a little bit longer. And other than that, I'm done.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Carson.
Do you want to push stop on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I needed,